Through their culture and magic of the inner kinetics, the semi-nomadic Renan people in the far north have always been strongly connected to nature and the Weltengeist of Raja, which is the planet itself. Tales of ancient grandmasters of the inner kinetics exist, who were in such harmony and balance with the world that Raja appeared to them and revealed the truths of the world to them. A burden that resulted in some of the grandmasters falling into madness. And I would like to tell you about this truth in this episode. In the beginning, there was nothing, and even nothingness did not exist, because nothing cannot be nothing if nothing exists, but that should be changed. They came into the nothingness by destroying the void. Their eternally lasting fight should also shatter this dimension of existence, and so they were everything that is and everything that is nothing. Two forces that could not be more different. Pure light filled with the life of a million universes and the deepest shadow that death and destruction had to offer. They were the Walton Wanderer or World Walker, who wanted to spread life into every corner of existence, and its eternal shadow, which sought to devour the same. With every punch and hit, with every drop of cosmic blood they lost, the first living beings like the Weltengeist beings and the first galaxies were created. After eons of the brutal fighting, the battle would reach its climax, as the powers of the World Wanderer and his shadow began to fade, and they set out on their final punch that would eventually destroy them both forever. Their cosmic bodies merged with each other, and because of the released cosmic energy of this fusion, their existences exploded. Mass and non-mass were thrown into all corners of the universe, creating the balance between life and death. Now the universe took shape, because eons later, when the first solar systems formed and the first biological creatures searched for food in the seas of the first planets, the fire of the initial explosion extinguished. But something else also awakened at that moment. Hungry, in search of food. From that cosmic fire arose a being that was neither shadow nor light, as it was both. We call this being the Shadow Walker, or Shatten Wanderer. Nevertheless, the Shadow Walker was deeply split in his existence, a being that had the urge to create and yet was pursued by his shadow, which would destroy everything once again, a being that fought a war with itself. And so it was that this being almost destroyed itself when it fought with the forces within itself. Therefore, the part of the Shadow Walker that wanted to live and create was looking for a way to defeat its dark side. But the search for a solution seemed hopeless in the still young universe that they created together. No power was to be found which could be useful to it, no weapon which was powerful enough. And so its powers faded more and more as time went by. So it was then that the Shadow Walker was so weakened that he had to materialize and take on a physical shell to keep up his strength. The Shadow Walker crashed out of the cosmic sphere of existence onto one of the first worlds called Yunon. Yet, as a consequence of the internal fight, and as a weakened shell that was inhabited by the two primordial forces was destroyed by the impact on Yunon, the entities split again. And after eons, the force of creation was able to feel what they created. It grabbed onto the world, and the grasses and plants wrapped around its arms. The oceans rose before it, and the ground shook as it understood what they did. The shadow had already begun to feed on the world, but only the part of them that created life could understand what life really was. This was not only a planet with life, but Yunon itself was alive. The grasses, the water, the air, they were filled with a Weltengeist, a being that brings life to barren worlds, a being that had enough power to do such things. Would be very helpful. As a last emergency, the Shadow Walker killed Yunon and absorbed all the power of the young Weltengeist being, which made this wonderful creation possible in the first place. But only in this way was it possible to make the shadow flee and separate it from its body and soul. The Shadow Walker was now free, but at what price? The being which wanted to create was destroying now. And it was even better at it than death itself, because it understood how life works. And so he was victorious and looked into a universe full of living worlds. Or was the Shadow Walker really the one who lost? Blind to the true intentions of the shadow, which had nested in its mind for eons and learned? Let's find out together in the next episodes.